called it at once. Thursday.
Right.
I talked to him.
I still haven't got a bill yet.
He called me.
I still
We're
haven't got
gonna
a
go
bill.
ahead and call this Personnel Committee meeting to order.
Oh, well.
Our first item of business is Melissa Logan, the election coordinator. Make sure I say it right. Is resigning this year. Now, she is not planning to leave until after the election. I believe it's in, Janice, is it May we have one?
School election.
School election, okay. So she is going to stay to help train a new coordinator. Now, my understanding is election commissioners decide who they want to hire. After that, then they answer to the judge.
How we've done it in the past is like, the election commission usually recommends someone, and then, the judge decides yea or nay.
Okay,
And it's, in some instances, I think, the former, coordinator would recommend somebody, and that's how it's been done as well, since they trained under that person, but
okay. Well, we'll let y'all get that worked out between the election commissioners, the judge, and Janice, so. But what we would like to do today is look at creating a trainer's position. So allow us to move Melissa into the training position to the trainer. And when they hire someone, they will be hired into the job that she has now. What we would do is we would basically create the position and set her a salary. It would be for 4 months. Once they hire the new person and 4 months later, after she's trained them, then Melissa's position would go away and her resignation would be effective. I asked Kelly to put us together figures on that, and she gave them to me, but I don't have that email. Got copies for everybody.
Make sure your committee's got them first.
Okay. I think we got more than enough. Let's get Betty and Aaron. And just not yet, Mr. McDonald. And then we've got enough here.
you did it right, didn't you? I told you to get it. I think they all have them.
And somebody else still need one? There you go. Okay, that first one is for the salary for election coordinator training. Salary would be $10,427. The Social Security $798. APRS $1597. All this would go over to the Finance Committee to approve. But what we need to do is look at creating a slot, which they're calling Slot 2, Election Coordinator Training. And then we'll pass that over to Finance so that they can do it. And we need a resolution to create the slot, right? It's not an ordinance.
Yes, I think so, but when we appropriate the money,
That'll have to be in an ordinance. So we need to create the slot first and then recommend it. Okay. So does everybody understand what we're talking about? We're going to talk a little bit of this so y'all can see my lips. Hopefully, if you can't understand me, you can help read lips a little bit. So we have a motion to do that.
I'll make the motion to make a slot for this 4-month salary.
All right.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Okay. And then, of course, we'll send this recommendation with these recommendations on salary to Finance. So they'll have that at their next Finance Committee meeting to do that. All right. Our second order of business, Mr. Lindy has been out for a while due to some illness and due to COVID. Come on in. don't have another copy. If you want.
You want me to look here where you can hear, Doc?
The judge came to me and said that one of the duties of the election, or the 911 administrator or coordinator is to issue new addresses when people want to build a house or a new business wants to open and they build a building, they have to get their address from the 911 coordinator. So the judge said that we need to fill that position, but what he wants to do is eliminate the current 911 position and move our OEM, or move those duties to our OEM, which is Wayne Reynolds. Have I stated that correctly, Judge?
That's correct, and what it would do is it would just put it back to where it was some years ago when the office was combined, and for whatever reason, the previous county judge had deemed it necessary to split those out. I think that they can both be brought back together, and one person handle both those duties, and that's similar to the way it's done in several other counties.
Yeah, and what I did was, at that point when he asked about that, I went to the finance department and asked that they get us a midpoint on the JSIP. Right now, as you can see, the E911 position gets 41,302. OEM is at 32,103. The midpoint, which is what we would normally start someone out at, for both of those positions is 34,923. My understanding is that Wayne is already starting to learn about the software over in Crittenden County.
No, I contacted the county judge over there, Judge Day, and asked him about the possibility of his 911 coordinator helping us in the
Okay.
interim. And he was very agreeable to that. He wanted to help and make sure that we got everything that we needed. And I contacted Aaron Johnson, which does that work in Craighead County. And he very graciously has been at our disposal. I think he did 4 last week and got 2 this week to do. So, and we were successful in pinpointing all of those addresses. So they've helped out a great deal. We're very thankful for Judge Day and Mr. Johnson for lending us their expertise.
And I'm assuming you've talked to Wayne about taking over these responsibilities.
Before we really got to talking about that, I did ask him if he would be interested in something similar. There wasn't any details at the time. He has since been on leave with the National Guard and some training. So I have not, we don't have anything formal. It was just some very loose conversation and very vague. Wasn't anything specific there, but I do believe he's interested.
So,
I spoke with Mr. Lindini yesterday and advised him of what we were looking at doing. And I think that maybe he talked with Michael after I talked to him. He's not, I don't know, I want to say he's really agreeable to it, but he's not disagreeable for the most part. What was your take on it?
David's not well and hadn't been well in quite a while. He served the county for a long, long time. He has been a really good county employee. Honestly, David's my age. He's Social Security age. He's drawn Social Security. He's drawn state retirement already. He hates the thought of not being productive, but he recognizes his health is holding him back, and he's not able to serve the citizens in the manner that he's done so well for so long, and he doesn't want to hurt anybody. And if he can be of further service, he would like to. He'd help in any way he possibly could. But he understands our needs and the needs of the county, and I think he's comfortable with him moving into retirement.
I'll also throw out a little unwritten part of this job that he's going to be acquiring, Wayne will be acquiring, David has done for many years is floodplain management. I'm the floodplain manager for the city of Blytheville. I will tell you that boy, those classes are like watching paint dry. But we have to have one, because if we don't, even have an ordinance, I believe, for the county about building in a floodplain. Because if we didn't, our citizens would not be eligible for floodplain insurance or for disaster money in the event of a flood. So that's an important part of that job, and I hope that he understands that when he takes the position. So the first resolution we would need would be to eliminate the 911 coordinator's position. Do we have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to eliminate the 911 position as it stands right now.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, motion and second. Is there any discussion?
Hate to lose him.
I do too. David has been a good employee. I've worked with him for many years. At the police department, I was over dispatch and had to remodel the room when we first got 911 in this area. And I will tell you, he was easy to work with there, and he's been great help in my current job as building inspector when I start looking at addressing and mapping. But I think this is a necessary step. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the second thing we would need to do would be to have a resolution to combine the 911 coordinator with the OEM position, recommending a salary of $34,923 starting out.
God, how much will this raise, Wayne?
A little over $2,000, about $2,820 a year. Now, he won't get all that this year because we've already had, 3 or 4 paydays this year too. But we also need to look at this, will probably not take effect until the 8th of March, because this will have to go to finance for approval also.
I don't know if you've listened to all 3 women here. We just don't think that's enough to take on all this.
I mean, when we're eliminating $40,000 from the budget and only giving him 2,000 of it, that's kinda,
Well, we've always used the midpoint, and like what I was told was the midpoint for the OEM and 911 position is this is generally what's paid across the state, or across the Jessup format.
but is that 2 different people or for
No,
one?
it's for one. It's normally one person. A few years back, David didn't want to do the OEM anymore. He was getting up in age, and to be quite honest, the OEM has a lot of responsibility traveling to Little Rock. I know he's been going to pick up PPE supplies since the beginning of the pandemic. As a matter of fact, we discussed a vehicle for him not too long ago, but I don't know if we've moved forward with that or not. And I don't think we have, because I don't know that we I don't know if it was approved through finance or not. It wasn't in the last year's budget, and I don't think we approved it this year. But he's been making a lot of trips just for OEM. The 911 coordinator position, they do all of the upgrades for 911, which usually they do one about every 2 to 3 years. And then they do all the mapping for the county, which OEM helps them with. And there are a couple of employees that David has working for him. We're not eliminating those, so those would move with over under the OEM.
So there are some other administrative position people doing some of the work then?
Yes.
Okay.
There's people out putting up the road signs, because anytime there's a road that needs a sign replaced, I think David's people do that.
They do.
and things of that nature. If you wanna make a recommendation, this will go to finance,
I'm not
you know,
either. I'm
and
not on
they
this committee, so.
Chairman, in history on this, David was in fact both. He was
Yes.
in both positions. And when the 911 system really came on board and we were updating and upgrading and assigning all the new addresses, it was a really big job. And David came to the judge and the court and asked it to be split. And the judge at that time and talked to the Quorum Court, and we in fact split the two positions. But what we didn't do is we didn't split the salary. So David took half the job, but kept his salary at the full amount. And then he's been with us for so long. He in fact retired through the state retirement program, but they had a step back program where he could retire for a couple months and then come back on and go back in at full salary again and still draw state retirement and his salary. And so that's what he's done, and he's enjoyed the benefits of all the raises that we've had for all these years that he's worked, which he should. But it's actually put him at over max when he's, been doing half the job that he used to do.
Right.
So we're just trying to pull back to where we really should have been in the beginning.
And that makes sense from that side point of view, but from the OEM side of, was that person that was in that position the person that was there when the job was split, or is he coming after?
We
the
created a new position and hired a new person.
But I mean, is the person that's in the position now the person that was hired originally when
Yes.
the position was
No,
created?
no,
No.
It's
no.
not the same individual.
Okay, that's what I'm asking, so I
Same
just don't wanna
job
be a slap in the
responsibilities.
face for that
I'm gonna say,
employee.
I think this is the second OEM that we've had since that
Okay.
split.
And we lost the first one because of salary.
Wouldn't it make more sense to go with the 41,000 instead of the 32,000? I mean, at this point, Wayne has been with the county and he knows that we've been spending $73,000 a year to get these two jobs done. Now we're gonna say, oh, I'm sorry, we're only gonna pay you $34,000 to do the same amount of work.
Well, okay, and let me throw this out. The committee recommends this.
I'm not on the
Here
committee,
we
I'm just
go.
saying.
And I'm not arguing, I'm just gonna point out, we will recommend it,
I'm
but
just talking.
the finance committee gets to make that final decision on exactly what they think.
Okay.
But I would like to say we need to at least go to
An
midpoint.
average between the two would be better than just $2,000.
That's what I'm thinking.
What is basically the average salary for around the state?
That's what they're saying.
$34,923.
For both of those positions.
Yeah.
But now, keep in mind that in the larger counties, they are split. It's back like what
That messes up your-
the 73,000. And within the smaller counties, they're put back together. I'm not sure exactly how our job duties here compare with some of the other counties, but I do know Wayne carries a phone with him 24 hours a day, and just like now, he's gone to National Guard training. He has to give that phone to somebody else that understands OEM, because if we do get a storm or some sort of disaster, somebody has to be in charge 24 hours a day.
A nice chemical spill out on the interstate where a
Exactly.
truck flips over.
Whether it's in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day. Plus, you can't build a new property that doesn't have an address without him.
Right.
Well, what you just said makes sense to me as far as
$4,500.
your percentage of your Jessup number is really skewed by the fact that you don't know how many of those were the jobs together and how many were the jobs apart. So that skews that Jessup number.
No.
Correct? If some counties have it together and some counties don't?
Well, typically, this compares counties that are like ours.
Okay.
It's not that,
Okay, so it's not necessarily statewide, so it's probably is comparing apples to apples.
Most likely.
Okay, well,
Even if you decided to take the two of them, split the difference, it's,
that's what I think is called.
instead of 34,000, it's 36,500.
That's a little bit better to me, that sounds better,
Yeah. Okay.
but I'm not on this committee.
Hey, we invite everyone.
I've been sitting on the wall for too long, I finally got to get to the table, I'm sorry.
All right.
And you just love talking, I love hearing you talk.
All right, so what we're looking at for a motion is to combine the two and then set a salary, or a recommendation for a salary.
Yes.
What do we have? Do I have a
Okay.
motion?
You want me to give the exact figure, or you want me to just say combined?
Well, combine them and then,
Okay.
whatever
Let's
on
combine the
solid.
two figures and give the average amount.
So we're saying 36.5 would be the average between those.
Well, I was wanting 4, but okay.
It would be a $4,000 a year raise, a little over 4,000.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
what I.
that sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
We have a motion, I have a second.
Second.
Okay. Have a motion and a
It's gonna be
second.
36.
Is there any other discussion on it?
Let's-
Oh,
I'm
Yes, ma'am.
sorry, I just want clarification real quick that we're bumping it up, well, the amount that we're
you
saying.
say 36.5, then we
Okay.
put it right at 4,000, about $4,400 right in that area.
Okay.
Don't you think that's fair?
You know, honestly, I do not know what all those job duties are, and I don't know how much time it takes. I've got a vague idea about what goes on between those two different offices, but unless I was better informed on the amount of time that was gonna be put in it, you know, and I don't have that information.
Mike?
It's not directly impacting on the resolution itself, but I would like to make sure that Mr. Lindenny gets all benefits that he's due, accrued time off, pay type stuff. And I don't know what he's got. He may not have a day, I don't know. But I think if we're gonna eliminate his position and effectively retire him, I'd like to see him get every benefit possible.
On retirement, do we pay sick leave or just vacation?
The policy book just says you get up to 10 days of vacation.
Okay, and
I-
I'm not asking for variances in the policy, but I'd like to see.
That's what
what the policy is.
that's what I thought I had remembered. I think it only
Good
allows
thing.
on retirement for 10 days.
And I'm good with that, but I'd like to see him get that,
If he has that,
if he has
I
that.
think that with eliminating the position, we can do that without a problem. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add? All in favor say aye. Okay. Really don't have any other business. I would like to update the committee. As you know, we are engaged in a lawsuit with the county judge's office. And just an update on that, all the local judges have recused themselves. We are awaiting a special judge to be appointed from Little Rock in that case. So we don't know how long that will take. We don't know how long it'll take them to get it on the docket once they do make that decision or anything else. So we could be waiting 2 months or we could be waiting 2 years. We don't know. They could be waiting longer than that. So that's just an update on that. Our lawyers let us know that a couple of weeks ago. Well, now we have 10 of the JPs here, so we know where we're at in that, and standing on that.
For the benefit of the new quorum court members, I don't know if they're aware of those specifics. Would you care to bring up?
The quorum court voted last, I guess it was in 19, to move the finance department hiring and firing to the treasurer. They are still supervised by the county judge, the county clerk, and the treasurer. The only thing is the direct line of hire and fire, or direct line of supervision, is under the treasurer. It did not change anything else in the way we do business. The judge is still the CEO. He has to authorize all bills to be paid. So the judge feels that we have taken away some authority from him. He has filed suit against the quorum court, and we have had several filings. You can go on
Court Connect.
Court Connect, Arkansas Court Connect, and you can read the entire case, all the filings, you can print it off, and know exactly what is going on in every step of that. I think it's even now got the step on there where the last judge recused themselves. So we are waiting for that to be, judge asked for a summary judgment on it. We've asked, I think we've asked for a hearing date, and we're just waiting on that to take place, or for them to give a judgment. They can decide to do either one. But that will, when that comes to fruition, we'll be notified. Our attorneys are still
Writing Collier.
writing Collier out of Little Rock. Judge has a lawyer out of Paragould.
Kimberly Dale.
I wasn't gonna embarrass myself and try to say her name, Kimberly Dale. So that, just update where we're standing with that. Does anyone have any questions? We'll try to answer them if we can, especially for the new members. Okay. Unless someone else has something else that needs to come before the personnel committee, we will stand adjourned.